going on. Obviously, he lives in China, as you guys probably know. But yeah, anyway, he's not with us today. We have Artemis. We're going to talk about some awesome stuff to do with content creation, what it's like being a content creator, getting into it, and so on and so forth. And then we're also going to do some overworld theory crafting. I know Artemis is huge into the overworld at the moment, and she's killing it as well. So she knows far more than I do, far more than pretty much anyone else playing Illuvium at this point. Maybe Viper has got some of the same knowledge set at the moment, but she knows her shit. Let's put it that way. So we're going to talk about that. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So I'm just double checking we're live. It's all working. Cool. All right. So let's get into it. So how are you going today?
Good. I think you give me a bit too much credit. I mean, like, I'm not dumb. I know my stuff, but Viper definitely has a leg up on me. I'm not going to lie. Like, his Twitter, he's got some great tips and tricks.
Oh, for sure. All right. So let's jump in early. Let's get the content creator stuff out of the way nice and quick, and then we'll jump into the overworld stuff because I know you're excited to talk about that. I know the people watching right now are probably excited to talk about that as well. It's going to be really good. So I don't know if I've ever actually asked you this, but what made you want to become a content creator?
Dude, that's funny because I feel like that's all I've been asked. Though I'll repeat myself. Like, it's kind of like I'll give you the honest answer. Money. And it wasn't so much in like I want to become a content creator. It's more of Kieran was running his land sale video creation competition to where like he's like, okay, create videos for the land sale and whichever one I like best. What I think he gave like 40 SILV2 to first place and 20 to second. And at the time, I was like, wow, you could probably get like a tier 3 land with that. Like if you're lucky with, the auction that, how it worked. So, I mean, I was already I was creating written content for Illuvial Master. And so I was like, oh, sure, I'll give video a try. So I created like 2 videos for that. And then I didn't really do anything. I created, actually one of my favorite videos is I took the session that Rogier and Andrew did, where Rogier's like created an entire Illuvitar in over the course of an hour. And I sped it up to be like in 60 seconds or something. So I made that. But I don't think I really started creating content until September. And I honestly, it wasn't even content creation. I think I just started with, hey, I'm going to start streaming. And again, that was mostly just because Guy was like, well, I don't want to stream, but they want Illuvial Master to stream. And I was like, well, I'll do it. And it just snowballed, honestly. I didn't plan to do it or start out. It just kind of opportunity after opportunity kind of got shoved in my face. And I was like, okay. I just didn't say no.
Yeah, time flies by pretty quickly. Do you know how many videos you have at the moment?
Oh, are we counting shorts or not?
We can count them.
Gosh, if we count shorts, I have over 200. And that's because I created like competitions get me going. TSG ran a competition in October. Who can create the most shorts in a month? And I think I created 150. Obviously, it shows you that if there's a competition, I'm gonna bring my A game and do my best. I won that competition.
For those watching, TSG is actually planning many more content creation competitions to try and spur on people like Artemis to create lots of content and really just try new things and stuff as well, which is something I fell into a bit of a habit of doing the same thing over and over again when I should really be trying new things. Like, it doesn't really matter how big you get. You always need to try something new as often as you can. And there's going to be more competitions and things. So if you're thinking about getting into content creation and haven't yet, it might be a good time to start getting your feet wet in the water, dipping your toes in the water, right? So, there's a lot to look forward to. So,
wait, hang on. With that, though, I want to touch on something.
Yeah.
The beauty of those competitions, especially when it's how much can you create in a short time span, is it really quickly helps you get out all the shitty stuff. Because let's be honest, when you're starting in content creation and it's your first thing, your first 20 videos are crap. Like, whether it's editing or maybe your mic doesn't sound great, like, it's just bad. And so, like, I did all of my learning during those competitions. So yeah, if you see the competitions, but you're like, hey, I can't edit or I can't do this, do it anyways. Get the experience. Like maybe if it's a pure numbers game, you'll win anyways. And then you could do what I did. And I think the 2 land videos that I did, they're crap. I deleted them eventually because it's like, I don't need you to see where I started 100%.
It's good to keep them up sometimes, but I've started privating some of my older videos. I've been doing some really deep analysis on my channel and which videos are kind of holding me back or pushing me forward, and I'm trying to double down on that sort of stuff. And you know me, I love all the numbers stuff, and doing it
Yeah, you do.
with my own numbers that I've created. It's quite a different experience than doing it with other people's numbers. You know what I mean? So it's been really interesting. So the next thing I want to ask you is, because this is the problem I always not necessarily fall into, but I have very much a split mindset on this, is do you often focus on what content you enjoy making or the content you think is going to get the most views to help you grow faster or whatever it is you might want to do?
Because of how I started, I only make what I enjoy or what I want answered. So, or, I do a little bit of back building because it's like I'm trying to build for all the people who are coming into the community like 6 months from now, right? So you're doing those kind of base videos of what is Illuvium and what are alluvials and how do they differ from alluvatars? But I'm not the type of person like, I don't like doing the numbers games. Like land videos, killing it right now. Trying to tell you what's better to buy, a tier 1 or a tier 3 would get massive views. But yeah, if I don't enjoy it, it's not going to be good content for me. So yeah, not really me.
I think you did touch on a really interesting point just then, though, that you talked about either videos I enjoy making or videos that I want answers to. And I think those sorts of videos are actually the ones that will get a lot of views. And sometimes the things you want answered are a little bit more niche, but sometimes they're the really general things. And even from my own personal experience, as I'm going back and looking at my analytics, the only videos I have getting really consistent views 6-7 months down the road are actually all of the how to stake videos. They do really, really well. They're crazy outdated, but people need to know how to stake. Everyone that's coming new into not just gaming, but crypto is just, it's such basic information, but people need it.
I watched a really great video maybe 2 months ago that pretty much just said, make videos that answer stupid questions that you think are stupid, answer them. And the example they gave is they showed this video that was like how to drill into a wall. Not how to find a stud, not how to hang a picture, but how to drill into a wall. And it had like 6 million views. And it was like a 2-minute video. And so I took that and I went into the Illuvium Discord general chat and I just watched for a while. I was like, what are the questions that everyone coming into general chat always asks? And I've got a list of about 12 videos I've yet to make answering some of those questions that are just like, somebody asks you and like, oh, God, I've answered this question like 24 times, but there's no video on it. So people are still asking it. Kind of like, how do you register for private beta? How do you get beta access? How many times do you have to tell people go to trivia?
Yeah, that's actually really funny. I think after this, I might see if I can get ChatGPT to take the entire transcript of Discord, and then I'll ask ChatGPT, okay, based on this, what 10 videos should I make on Illuvium? I think that would be really fascinating, just getting that sort of data, and we have so many tools now that we can do that. It's really, really exciting. But you're right. There's so many simple questions out there that are still yet to be answered. And the drilling a hole into the wall one is actually a really good. I've seen that video, actually, the exact same video you're talking about. Not the drilling part, but the one talking about it. And I think the most interesting part about that, something that Andrew has spoken to me before about, is don't waste people's time. When I've probably actually Googled how to drill into a wall when I was a lot younger. And there's nothing worse than saying that. And the video is, oh, you've got to get a drill. You've got to get this drill bit. You've got to get this and that. I don't care. Put the drill into the wall. Show me how to drill it into the wall. It takes 10 seconds. If you're wasting my time at the front, I'm going to find a different video. You know what I mean? So it's just about...
That's my pain point with like, if you look up recipes online, you have to like click the jump to recipe button and scroll through like 2,000 words on their story of why they're making empanadas. I don't care. Just tell me how to make it.
Well, maybe you should start making, I don't know if you're a very good cook or anything. I'm assuming you're pretty good, but if you're watching recipes online, but maybe you should make some recipe videos and stuff. That'd be pretty crazy. I've got a cookbook next to me I'm going to look through today.
Frankly, I probably would actually have a cooking channel if I had the time. And actually, that was my first dive into video creation. So not many people know, but my background, I was actually a content manager for an internet company that creates quiz content.
Okay.
And so like I would hire the freelancers who write the quizzes like, which Gilmore Girl are you? Or what color describes your personality? That was my life for about 4 years, which was lovely. I have a special place in my heart for personality quizzes. But I was trying to pitch short form videos to them back when like Tasty was really popular. And I made a couple of those like food videos that took like a minute and shows you how to make it. It was horrible videos, but I did it. That was my first experience with video editing.
They're crazy. I've seen some of those short form, like how to make. That's why short form's taken off so easily, because it forced people to do just what they were after. Like even me, the other day, I made a long form video, maybe 4.5 minute, 5 minutes video, where I explained a few tips in Illuvium. Zero hasn't come out yet. But then I went, okay, I'm going to make a short form video as well because I'm trying out shorts at the moment. That's just what I'm doing. You guys will see it on my channel. Trust me. I'm trying out short form videos. I made the same content, arguably maybe better, in 30 seconds. And it was easy for me to make.
I'm not going to lie. I get a lot of my ideas from channels like yours or TSG's or Venomores where you guys have like an hour-long discussion. I was like, I can make that in like 5 minutes. Here, I'm going to make that video.
It's a bit like that. There's I think the bottom line is there's so much opportunity for so many people.
Yeah.
And this actually brings me to one of the next questions I wanted to ask is a lot of big pain points, or what people think is a pain point when they think about content creation, is equipment. What sort of equipment did you start with? Did you buy something decent or whatever, or did you upgrade later? I can see the mic in your camera right now. It looks pretty good. It's probably a little bit better than mine. I don't know. But like, what sort of equipment did you start to use?
So I'm actually going to repeat some advice that I got that I did not listen to. But you do not need fancy equipment. If you have a phone, which everyone has a smartphone, you can do I have it here? No, I don't. If you have a smartphone, like that's all you need, and then you can get like one of those stands for it for like $30 off Amazon for like a really good one. I got a new stand just the other day. But if you're a perfectionist like me who likes to waste their money on upgrades that they probably could have waited to get, I've got the Shure mic, which I love it. It's got great audio quality, but I will freely admit you have to eat the mic to have good quality. Because if I go all the way back here, you just can't hear me quite as well.
Oh, okay.
So actually, I think I got this from Vulcan because I think he has the same one. And I didn't really realize that, you have to really be up in its business right now. Well, TSG calling you out.
Well, normally the front of the mic, I'll deal with him later. Normally the front of the mic is actually what receives the sound, and I can see yours is pointed down quite a bit. I don't know if that's gonna. Oh, it's up. It's hard to tell. It looks like it's but like the front of it. So if you have the mic like this, like this, it's the front side that actually takes the sound in or whatever, not the top of it. I don't know if that'll have an impact or not, but maybe, and every mic's a little bit different, I think, but that might be part of that. But definitely use your phone. And I think when we're talking about short form content, it's such a big, you don't need anything fancy. There are lots of people on there getting millions of views with just their phone, talking to it. And even I talk to my phone, and those are some of my best short form videos. I've edited some and they're not as good for some reason. I think it's mostly about the idea, and you'll only get good ideas from doing every single idea you can think of.
Yeah, pretty much.
There's no secret to it, believe me.
But Shure microphone's my go-to. I love these headphones, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm a person who I like to hear exactly what I'm saying as I'm saying it. And when I had other headphones, I always got like kind of a delay. So I've got that fancy one that like hooks in at the back.
Oh, cool. I should do that actually. I tried new headphones. I didn't like them, so I've got to throw them in the bin or give them away or something.
Especially like if I'm doing more of those like music shorts, because I really like making Illuvium lyrics to like popular songs I'm finding. And if I'm recording music, I absolutely have to have like in the moment sound.
Yeah, I've never really felt comfortable with the whole me hearing myself through my headphones thing, but it's something I need to get used to. And these headphones are just comfortable and, well, they're not noise cancelling. That was the problem that I had with my other headphones. The new ones I got, they were noise cancelling. And I, the same way you're saying right now, I couldn't do the disconnect. So I went back to these ones without really trying to actually get the sound to play through them, but maybe I will be able to eventually.
You know, it's funny that you said you don't like hearing yourself talk. I have no problem hearing myself talk right now, but I cannot stand rewatching myself as I edit videos, because the way I hear myself and the way I hear myself recorded is like two different things. I'm like, is there someone else in the room? Do I really sound like that?
Yeah, that's the one thing I can't stand doing on my own is editing my own footage, and that's not because I don't like editing. And you know what? I'm actually pretty good at it for the most part. I've done a lot of video editing in the past, but I can't stand editing myself. My visuals, sound, whatever. I just don't like rewatching anything really, especially myself. I don't like rewatching movies. I don't like replaying games. It's really not what I'm into. And maybe I have a short attention span. I don't know, but I'm just not. I don't really love it.
See, that's funny because I listen to the same song on repeat for hours. And like movies, like I definitely have my movies that I like rewatch over and over. I've got a major movie for almost every holiday that I'm like, okay, this is my tradition. I watch this movie every year.
Yeah, I do have one or two episodes of TV shows that are like, if I'm in a bad mood, I'll watch them to make me feel better. But that's about it. Like a specific episode though, not even the entire show. All right, so we'll bring it back just a tad. And this is a question that's actually a bit more personal than useful for the chat, but I have a lot of trouble splitting my mindset between streaming and recording content and things like that. And the difference between them is a lot larger than someone might expect. So what is the most different thing for you between like streaming and regular content? And how do you kind of like, what do you do to prepare for each one individually? You know, like, is there a big mindset shift?
No. When I do my videos, I don't keep it a secret that all of my videos are pretty much scripted. And I script them because I'm trying to get you the most information in as concise a manner as possible. And I mean, that's why a lot of other people's videos are longer, because they're freeform talking. Whereas when I do mine, bam, 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 bam. I've got you all of the information. So there's a lot of prep work that goes into my pre-recorded videos. And when I stream, it's still a whole new world for me. I do really horrible if there's no chat, because I do really well because if chat's there, like I can just have a conversation, and I'm not comfortable with silence in my streams. So, and I'm also not great at like super describing what I'm doing. So I don't know. I'm still learning about the whole streaming. I do try to educate as I'm going. So like, again, if somebody's in chat and asks one question about like mining, like, why do you choose that mining? Or do you have any upgrades? And okay, great. I've got a 30-minute tangent about why I'm doing what I'm doing. Thank you for the prompt.
Yeah, I think that is really interesting, is that the chat can be so damn helpful. People don't even realize. They're like, oh, I'm just like one viewer in his chat room. Like
Ricky.
No, they don't even
Ricky's my viewer.
I'm like, no, that's all that matters. Just one person is so nice. You should definitely, get like Chris and stuff onto the stream, and you can just like join the stream together and have two people on the stream at the same time and stuff. That might be really helpful. But yeah, there's so many different ways to do it.
That was fun.
I don't know much about streaming at all, and it's something I'm trying to improve at. I'm hoping to do it weekly nowadays, actually, because just
same.
Get used to it and things like that.
We should stream together.
We should. It seems like our times line up pretty well, to be honest, which is weird because you're in America.
Well, I mean, if anyone wants to get on, I'm streaming after this, so hit up my channel.
Yeah, don't forget to jump on Artemis' channel. It's in the description down below, of course. Okay, so we'll keep going because I know we want to do that theory crafting for Overworld. So, so what are the hidden Overworld strategies you've been using? What is the one piece of advice you would have to give someone if they are only just starting the Overworld now, or even if they're an intermediate?
That's hard. So actually, I'm really glad that we're doing beta because I'm able to make so many mistakes. And I would actually say that the first way that I started the Overworld was a mistake. So when I first Overworld dropped, right? In that first week, all I did was mine. Every single run I mined. And it might have been more useful if I had done more stage 1 runs. But I usually did a 1 stage 3, 1 stage 2, 1 stage 1s. And at the end of the week, I had a lot of shards so that when I went into my next, constant capture stream, I was able to do that. But it put me way behind both on catching alluvials and on upgrading my stuff. So I would tell people when you're first starting out, definitely kind of go 50-50. Catch some alluvials, mine some stuff, ignore the plants for right now because augments aren't really being used. I mean, you can use them in the overworld, but it's not super necessary. You don't need a high-powered team. My team right now is 80% tier 0 alluvials. And I've got I have a Ryeplants and I have Scoriox, but honestly, I kind of want a Fireox because I find Fireox a little more effective on the board.
I still haven't evolved mine.
I'm regretting evolving into the Scoriox. I'm waiting. I need one more Fiery and then I can get my Fireox back. But then all my advice is really once you get late game, right? So I've got a really awesome build that I didn't even think about it. I'd been ignoring upgrades and I went to do my upgrades in preparation for the wildfire tournament tonight. And I was able to get my mining costs. So to mine a rock, it's 100 energy and I've got it down to 27. Which pretty much when you get it that low, you can get everything on the map just about. But really, I mean, that's a high cost because you got your negative 20% and you're doing 2 of those upgrades, but then you're re-rolling to get the negative 10% as your secondary trait. And I must have re-rolled at least a dozen times for each of those. But I think I ended up with negative 70 mining cost. And then I have the same thing for alluvial capture. So for tonight's competition, I think my enter cost into the wakes is 187. I think I can get 26. I shared that a bit too soon. And there's probably at least 3 or 4 people in the Wildfire Guild who are like, oh, I'm going to grind to get that. I can't keep my mouth shut. I'm horrible at it.
I think there's actually a maximum amount of wakes that are possible in the overworld, though. I hate to burst your bubble. I think it's 20. So even if you...
someone said they found 22. So I guess we'll find out tonight.
I think the idea is apparently if you miss one, it will respawn. So you can only actually enter 20, I believe. But you can find, 50, 60 if you wanted to, I suppose. But
I'll keep track. We'll see if it's 20 or if it's not. Usually I don't miss the shots. So we'll see what that is. What that's like. I never had cause to try to hit the limits, but I will say I was mining with that 27 cost mining, and I didn't get everything. So I definitely didn't run out of rocks. We love our rocks.
We do love our rocks. I have a lot of mining power. It would be really interesting to compare the difference between mining power and reducing cost. Yeah. Because with mining power, some of the easier rocks, even in stage 3 area, I can pretty much knock out all of it in 2 hits. With reduced cost, it still take you 5 to 6 hits. So cost to cost, I wonder if it's really beneficial. You know what I mean?
You know what pissed me off last night is I was doing my first run with that super low cost, and I got the leaderboard. I had 178,000 points on the leaderboard because I got 8 resplendent gems. I did not get a single resplendent shard. God damn it!
That's a killer. My first few runs, I didn't find a resplendent shard. I got 6 resplendent nature gems in like my first 2 runs. I keep getting them. Every single run I get at least one. It is infuriating. And we were trying to...
What? Right now, isn't it like they're showing up twice as often as they should be or something?
I have
Gems
no
in
idea,
general.
but it sounds
I'm
like
pretty
it.
sure I heard that.
But the gem rocks. But the crazy thing is gems are worth so much in the point system.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is. That feels weird. It feels even weirder that alluvials are worth nothing.
And shards. Shards are worth like nothing, it seems.
Yeah, resplendent shards okay, but everything else is pretty garbage. It's absolutely crazy. But it's making me think that scanning power is really the way to go, because if you can scan a rock and be like, I don't want any of this, then you can go to the next one. But at the same time, there are a lot of like iridium and stuff that you just need. So maybe reducing cost or mining power or whatever is good. So you just get as much as you can, but then scanning is good if you want to maximize points maybe, because then you can only mine the ones that are going to give you the best possible points outcome.
Yeah, but will it really matter? Because I don't think they're keeping the leaderboard around once we hit open beta. Like, it's just for us right now.
I think they definitely liked the idea of it, because they created it for the private beta. And they really like the idea of it, and I think they're going to keep it in some capacity. It's definitely not going to be like 100% like they're going to keep the exact same thing for the open beta, but I know that they want to involve it in some way. And there's all that stuff with, if you find the first obelisk, your name's going to be encrusted in it and stuff. So I think the leaderboard is going to play into things like that. So the first, like maybe a player who catches certain things first might be you go on some special leaderboard somewhere and things like that. So it's going to be a really exciting time in general for sure.
Yeah, I would say when open beta hits, it's definitely like one of the big questions for myself of like, do you spend like the first precious hours when it goes live catching alluvials to try to get your name on an alluvial, or looking for the obelisk to be the first person to get, like, you have to pick what you want to try to like engrave your name in. At least I do. I'm like super stoked at the idea of being the first to do something and having my name engraved somehow on the blockchain.
I'm curious as to how this goes longer on, because you feel like some of this first to do it stuff is really going to take off in the first week, right? So what do the other people that are coming new into the game have left to do, you know? But I feel like there's so many things you could create if they haven't already, such as like the first one to capture 500 atlases, or the first one to find all the obelisks and touch them, or the first speed run of some kind. I don't know. I feel like there's so much you can do, right?
Well, and you got to think about, like, I talked with TSG about sets of alluvials and like what's the optimal amount of time to let a set run, since we know that once set 1 ends, then set 2 will begin. So there's no bleed over. So if they let set 1 run for an extended amount of time, let's say a year, and then they introduce set 2 and it's a smaller amount, if that only runs for 6 months, well, maybe you miss getting your name on an alluvial there, but then you get your next chance in 6 months. And you think, like, with how it's happened with everyone right now, a lot of the alluvials were seen or found within the first couple days. But it took a few weeks for someone to fuse their way up to like a ramp fire. I don't think anyone's found a ramp fire in the wild. I know people found like the second stage of alluvials, but oftentimes, like, I know somebody found a rye plants.
Yeah,
I think I only know of 1 or 2 people who've done that. I know. You just suddenly like dropped the image on Twitter.
I didn't think it was that special, to be honest. It was just a part of my other stuff, and then people were like, what the hell?
You just don't, again, it's one of those things you just don't see. And I'm curious to know if the distinction will be when you're engraving your name. Are you the first person to own a ramp fire, or are you the first person to catch one in the wild?
Yeah, that's actually a really, really interesting.
If it's catching it in the wild, it might take a while. It might never happen, depending on how rare they make the chance. Yeah, and if you would encounter it and it gets away, like, gosh, that's just gonna hurt.
TSG did say someone found a Ramfire, so that's really interesting. I didn't know that. But you also have the first dark hollow of each alluvial, which would be really crazy as well.
And regular hollow.
If you could see this on the screen, Matt has a really good question. So, will you guys be spending any time in T0 catching T0s, or will you just YOLO it and solo a T1 Tatapi with your Ranger only in a T1 zone? What would be your answer to that?
Well, I know eventually I will spend time in the tier zeros because I'll want to catch all of the tier 0 alluvials myself. Eventually. I might not do that to start with. So, yeah, I might totally YOLO it at rope drop and hope to make it work. I talked with Venmore, actually. He had a great plan of buying up some tier zeros off the marketplace in the first hour and then jumping straight in. So I haven't solidified my plan, but I don't know what I want to go for. If I want my name on those alluvials first, or maybe I want to jump in and find the way to the obelisk.
That's definitely my plan. I'm definitely going to reserve as much Ethereum as I possibly can to buy everything I need to jump into a T3, a stage 3 as soon as I can. I don't really have any interest in going to the earlier ones. If I can, say, I don't know how much Ethereum it might cost me, but let's say under 1 ETH to just stack my bags and just get deeper into the game as soon as I can. I'm probably going to aim for that. At a minimum, I'm definitely going to buy T0s off the market. I'm probably not going to go into the area. I'm probably going to buy everything off people or have people helping me. You never know.
I have been talking to other people, and I'm trying to team up with, there are some people I know who just want to farm or mine, and just trying to negotiate deals with them of okay, you want to be my supplier? And then I'll go in and we'll split the alluvials somehow. Maybe. But then, oh gosh, you know what I'm excited for that we don't have yet? Stats. Unique stats. Because so much of what we're doing right now is just click, 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 click. So when you're fusing your Tatapis into TNT, you're not thinking about it, right? You're just clicking that fuse button. But once we have unique stats, so much thought is going to have to go into that of do I do my 3 crappy ones and hope to get a better statted TNT? Or, I'm excited for that. Fusing is going to be just wild.
Yeah, not only that, but the alluvials are going to level up. And I think you can only fuse them when they're at max level and things like that. Yep. So training your alluvials is something we haven't experienced yet. And I think it's going to make it feel very, very different. There's something a lot more engaging about leveling up your alluvials. Coming back from the Pokemon background, obviously, it's really engaging when you have to level up your Pokemon to beat that next gym leader. Now, we don't have gym leaders, and I kind of wish we get something along those lines, but there's going to be something more engaging about doing that. The only sad part is you don't need to do that for the Ascendant mode. And I like the idea that anyone can get into Ascendant. You only need stage 1s and all the rest of it. But I'd like it to be more engaging. Even in your classic card games, you need to get the right cards to be able to properly compete in the higher end of the ranked arena. But in this current setup, you don't really need that. I'd like there to be a bit more of a balance.
Yeah, okay. So let's take that idea of leveling up, right? And let's look at Private Bit's been out 2 months. A lot of people are actually really close to having one of every alluvial if they don't already have it. And just think of how much more time it's going to take us to do that. As you said, when you have to level it up. Modern Llama caught all of the lynxes, and that was he made this great video. It was hilarious to see his journey to it. But if he had to level up every lynx to you have to get to level 10 or something, I have no idea what the levels are going to be or how much XP it's going to take. You're immediately tripling the amount of time you have to spend, right? And we don't know how the XP is going to be delivered, right? Is it just the alluvials you're placing on the board? And that's going to change your strategy because you can't always go with your Scoriox to take out the other side because, well, he doesn't need any more XP. You need to try to use your Lynxes or your Tatapi. It just, there's so much to this game we haven't seen yet. And I'm so excited.
Well, what if levels also applied to the Ascendant mode? That hasn't really been discussed yet. And I've only really thought of it just then, but even if you had your stage 1 Fury and you could use it as a Scoriox, maybe you still need to level it up to level 100 so that it's going to compete effectively. I know in Pokemon, everything past level, everything gets brought down to level 50. But if it's below level 50, it doesn't get up to level 50. So you've still got to hit that before you can use it. And it's very easy in the late stages of the game, and that's probably going to be the same here. But I like the idea of things like this. Things a part of your adventure matter, because what that will also mean is on the NFT marketplace, they will matter, which I feel is an important factor that we need to consider.
Yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if we can't level up our alluvials in the Ascendant arena. That just, you have to have a way to just grind it out other than the stage 0.
Definitely. Yeah, that is an interesting one, because stage 0 you can do for free and you can level them up and stuff. So I do like the idea of you get the plants that we can harvest and they have all the items that no one ever uses, right? But what if those items, you could feed them to your alluvials and it levels them up? And different alluvials like different plants and things. I feel like that's a very short walk that the team would actually need to make to improve the game even further. It's not that much added development time. You got to figure out the balancing. But besides that, I think there's a lot there. So the other thing I want to talk about, and something that I think I might be remembering it wrong, but I think you're not super crazy interested in the arena per se. You're more interested in mining, the overworld, collecting, and that sort of stuff, right? Do you think the overworld and arena will have very distinctly archetypes of players interested in them, or do you think most people would be involved with both?
I think you have 3 sets of people. You have the people who are only interested in arena and might just buy their alluvials to participate in it because they don't want to have to go through the grind it's going to take in the overworld. You have the people who are really going to enjoy the process of collecting and curating their own team, and doing that part so that they can play in the arena. And then you have the people who don't care about the arena and likes the overworld for what it is. But so yeah, I think there's more 3 classes of people than just 2.
So to reiterate, the 3 classes were the person who loves overworld, arena, and who loves both, right?
Yeah. So yeah, the people for arena who are just going to buy their alluvials so that they can do the arena. The people who actually like building their own team, leveling it up, creating and all of that. And then the people who maybe just ignore the arena except for an odd play. Like, I'll play with you, and like Jim's already challenged me to a showdown, so I got to take him on that. But Overworld's definitely where my bread and butter is. I have more fun there.
I'm very, very excited for organizing along with the Wildfire leadership team and stuff. Just like 256 player tournaments, giant bashes. I'll create all the NFTs for it. Don't worry, that my team will take care of all the organizational logistics if we have to and stuff. I'm excited for those sorts of events. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. I don't think everyone's going to watch every single match, but I like the idea of figuring out who's the best and who got really far. And then, because I've been in a lot of different competition formats for Pokemon and stuff like that, round robins and everything as well. And you have your tournament series that last long periods of time. And I like the idea of like, oh, Ricky won his first ever tournament. He lost the next couple. He's come second a few times. Who's going to come first next? And everyone pretty much watching the grand final of each tournament. You know what I mean? I like those big scale events, and I like the idea that I can help make some of them as well. And I've always wanted to be on that side of the fence, so to speak.
Yeah, I really like even if it's not my favorite game, regardless of the genre game that Illuvium pumps out, I'll probably participate in all of them to some degree. You invite me into a tournament or you're running a tournament, the competitive side of me can't say no. Even if I just fail miserably, like FPS games, I suck at. I'm really bad. Like Overworld, I spray and pray totally. I take the TSG method right there. But if you do an FPS Illuvium tournament, you can bet I'm going to be in there, dying most of the time, but I'll be there.
Yeah, it's going to be so much fun.
That's what I love about the gamer title, right? It's like, I am a gamer. Are you good? No, I'm not. I'm a gamer, though. You don't have to be good to be a gamer. You just have to like the games.
Yeah, my mum loves Farmville. She kills it on Farmville.
Are you giving her your Illuvium Zero land to work on?
No. She doesn't play it. My dad's obsessed with Clash of Clans, though, so there's definitely an avenue there. Let's be honest. He plays it a lot, and he's like pretty much finished all the stuff you can do and stuff. Like he's very dedicated. Let's put it that way.
I'm not gonna lie, not financial advice, but the free version of Illuvium Zero from an investor standpoint excites me more than the paid for land. Like the microtransactions, like I don't really play city builders, and you're watching everyone who says I don't play city builders getting addicted to Illuvium Zero right now. And all I hear over and over is like, this is going to beat Farmville. This is going to become just as addicting as something like Candy Crush. And I'm like, okay, here, mom, let me give you this game. And it targets a completely different genre of people, right? It's not the gamers. It's not the people who buy cool equipment or grind for hours. It's someone who just needs something to pop up on their phone for 5 minutes while they're watching TV. Like my grandmother would play that game. And, you know, yeah, she'll happily throw away 50 cents to get a speed up so she can do the next thing.
And you've got like, it's as far as city builders go, it doesn't have as many buildings and things like that to a degree, but you do have 150 alluvials worth of biodata that you can find and you can research. You can get all the blueprints and everything, and it doesn't have so much use inside Illuvium Zero, unfortunately, but there's definitely so many collecting aspects that I think are going to be great in the future. And that brings us to our last topic, and something I want to talk about now is, what do you think the evolution of the overworld will look like? So obviously lots of people come into these discussions, into these streams, and I'm sure you've seen them in your streams as well, and they just come in and the only message they send is the overworld is boring. And Grant has assured us that it's going to get a lot less boring very quickly. But what do you think that looks like?
Like, to be less boring? I mean, think of World of Warcraft, right? And everything that goes into something like that. You're going to have in-game chat. You're going to have, ideally long-term, like the new Pokemon game, you're going to have the alluvials inside. Like, you think of a Titanor just running across your path, or, you know, 6 Tatapes over on that rock that you know, maybe you walk around because you've got enough of them. Tatapes, to me, are kind of the Zubat of Illuvium right now. And yeah, I'm so sick of seeing Tatapes. Oh my goodness. And Atlases. But like, yeah, just having those actions more in game. And people say that they're bored of Crimson Waste. Let me just point this out to you. The title of the region is Crimson Waste. It's a desert. It's a wasteland. So I'm not surprised that it comes across as a little boring. Once you add in alluvials, in-game chat, or plants that fight you, right? So right now there's a plant that you attach, and we get too close, stuff flies out at you. And if you have to avoid that, or, you know, shoot it in a certain way, it's going to become more interesting. Now, what I'm excited for is things like Halcyon Sea. In Halcyon Sea, there's an area, an underground water area, that periodically floods. You know, having those timing puzzles are really interesting. In Tyche Boreal, they're going to be introducing the slide mechanic. So you can't just walk across the surface. You're going to be sliding. So you're going to have to find a new way to move. Like, we have one region. There's 6 more. And when you add in the regions, alluvials in person, plants, chatting with friends, and who knows what else they're going to add, because this is just the beginning. It'll be about as fun as any of those other games, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Matt said it really well, where he wants it to be like Avatar, where Pandora feels like a living, breathing environment. And I don't necessarily think we need to take it that far, although we have seen from the new leaks things like, not necessarily bugs flying around, but it's just the environment feels more alive with a few little effects and things that make a much bigger difference than I expected. But the big thing I'd like to see added very, very soon, at a minimum, is something like a day and night cycle. And why Avatar fits in nicely to this, because in Avatar, they did a really good job with the day and night cycle. You have the daytime and it's a forest. There's trees and shit. You get the idea. There's a forest. But at nighttime, there's a lot of creatures and living beings and things that glow in the dark and that look just different at night. Even my city looks vastly different at night than it does during the day. And I think that's going to make a big impact. And I think a desert's a good example of that. Crimson Waste is, for all intents and purposes, a desert, right? Deserts look very different, or feel very different, in the day and the night. In the day, they're brutally hot. At night, they're stupid amounts of cold. And I like the idea of adding that into Crimson Waste, and I think it will have a big difference, especially because you can be like, oh, I've been in this region for 3 days. It's my longest run yet. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot to explore in that situation, I think.
I'll be interested to see if they do that, because I thought I remembered Grant saying that there was no plans to do it simply for how long the lighting would take to just change that up, right? Because things look completely different at night. Another thing actually that DJ Slappin pointed out is there are going to be puzzles, right? You know, like you're going to have to complete different things to get to different locations. I spent a ridiculous amount of time with the Crimson Waste cave paintings, hoping that something would happen before somebody on the team told me, oh yeah, no, there's nothing implemented with the cave paintings at the moment. It's like, there's 4 days I'll never get back. But no, I'll be interested to see if they do day night. I think it would be great if they did. But I thought I remembered Grant saying there wasn't plans for it at this moment.
Wrecking my dreams. Crushing them.
Yeah. Let me just take my hammer.
Night. Yeah. All right. So we best be starting to wrap it up. I think we've talked about a lot of stuff, unless there's anything else in particular you'd want to talk about.
Oh, there is, but it would probably take about 40 minutes.
We can do a short form of it. What is it?
I've been ranting to people about the sheer number of NFTs that people are going to be getting once this game launches, and the idea of marketplaces. Because I got a throwback, man, this is going to date me. I grew up playing Neopets. I don't know if you know what that is.
I love Neopets. Go on.
It was my favorite game growing up. And like, I learned how to code from that game. I learned about finances because, you know, I had my little shop. So if I had like 6 of an item, you know, I'd buy it for 32, I'd sell it for 33. And it was cool that you could go back to a particular player and buy from them because, like, hey, I like buying from Scoriox. He always has fair prices, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
But right now with land, you're buying one NFT at a time. Once things like Illuvium or Slenvium are NFTs and we're buying our resources off the market, you don't want to buy one at a time if you need 250 to make some augment upgrade, but you don't want to mine it yourself. So buying in bulk, being able to list so that people can buy in bulk. So, hey, I've got 500. Oh, of your 500, I want to buy 200. Having player markets that maybe you can go back to is really interesting to me. Just being able to set up, like, this is Artie's Market, Artie Mart, you know, and there's the name. I just like that idea, and the idea that you can, like, right now I'm sitting with thousands of resources that I haven't used because I've been ignoring everything but shards, which is how I was able to do those upgrades for the tournament tonight, is because I just like, oh yeah, I've got like 600 of this resource. I only need 12. But
yeah, I think marketplaces would be interesting. I think on OpenSea you can list more than one thing, but you're right, you can't buy only half of them and things like that. And I feel like it'd be pretty easy to build out a system where if 100 people list it for 5, then it will buy from those 100 people if you're buying 500 or whatever it is, and it'll just buy up the road. And before you click the buy button, it'll tell you an average price. But at the same time, there'll be so many people buying and selling that might not work. If you're trying to push through a transaction when all this stuff is listed and everyone else is trying to buy it as well, then how does it organize that on the blockchain? I feel like that would be a huge, huge pain point. So marketplaces, I think, would make sense. And if that is, then I could see Wildfire as well having its own storefront, in a sense, where all the guild members of Wildfire are selling their resources to Wildfire. We're getting some sort of discount or some sort of arrangement, but it means that we can sell it to people a lot easier than they might be able to sell it to people. Because we're able to have a storefront, we're able to do all this other stuff, you know?
The main point being that the only things you're buying one at a time are going to be alluvials. Every other NFT that you're going to be getting, again, unless they're not NFTs, but we've heard that the big thing is player ownership, and that includes resources and upgrades. Like, think of the people who are just going to farm to be able to make, like, that upgrade that gives you -30 total mining cost. And like, hey, I've just made 10 of these. I'm going to go sell them to someone who doesn't want to farm for it.
Yeah, definitely. And also big thanks, Ricky, for the donation. He says we're his favorite content creator. So just on that note, though, we should talk about the wildfire tournament going on right now. And you're about to compete in it. So definitely, as soon as the stream is done, don't forget to go to Artemis stream in about 30, 40 minutes around that time. So definitely go and check that out. We got the wildfire tournament happening at the moment. It's a little bit of a practice tournament. I have no idea if the prizes are for this one. I think they are. I've been a little bit out of the loop because I've been so busy. But we have this a bit of a practice tournament, and we're using it as a testing ground for future tournaments as well. So don't forget to go and check out Wildfire if you haven't already. And we're going to have lots more tournaments in the future. Ricky is spearheading this one. He's doing a really excellent job. So just jump in the Wildfire Discord. You would have had to register beforehand, but watch it, see how it goes, see kind of the environment, and we'll be able to do that as well. So yeah, definitely go check that out. I'll probably stream just in the Discord. I probably won't stream on YouTube, but
looks like Ricky's still winning. We
we
have until reset tomorrow, but he's ahead for 102 points on the last posting.
Didn't know there was postings. That's how.
Oh, he's keeping everyone updated. It's been a lot of fun. I'm super excited. But he only has that because he stole my build. I knew I shouldn't have shared with him.
We have an epic team over at Wildfire. And we've got a lot planned. We have a Wildfire. We have a white paper and everything now. It's crazy. So yes, very, very exciting. So yeah, is there anything you want to leave us off on?
No, but if you want to watch some Overworld, I'm going to be doing my wildfire competition and also the Hyperion Guild weekly quest. I will be announcing and doing my participation in about 40 minutes over on my channel. So if you want to chill out, give me some talking points for me to rant on something, more than happy to have people to chat with.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me today on Augment. Artemis, it's always a pleasure talking to you. You have some epic insights, and yeah, you started your content creator journey later than some people, so I really like to get that perspective because the landscape keeps changing. But you're definitely making a name for yourself. You've got some really unique content too, things that other people just can't do, and you're playing to your strengths, which is what I believe heavily in. So thanks for joining me.
Yeah, totally. All right, everyone.